Welcome to Around the Weird. Here's your host, the museum curator of the strange and unusual, Mr. Nothing.
Thank you, mysterious voice, and welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature that I've found in my travels. Today it is Poetry Thursday, so I wanted to talk about some poetry of interest as per usual. And I still have one poem from the December poems that I never got to. That I found and I liked. So today I'll be talking about post-Christmas and just what happens in that between December 25th and January 1st. I am referring to the 26th of December or December 26th by Galway Kinnell. For those who don't know, Galway Kinnell was an American poet who lived throughout the 1900s, dying in the early 2000s. He was known for writing dark poetry, what some have said is egoless poetry, whatever that means. I don't really think I saw it in any of the poems I found, but I just might not be looking hard enough, perhaps. But he was somewhat acclaimed for his work. He wrote novels, poetry, and other such things. And he was also the poet laureate of Vermont for a time, which is pretty cool for him. And I think he also won the Nobel Prize in poetry, which is another accomplishment. But I'm just surprised I've never heard of this poet before, but that can happen with a lot of modern poets, especially when you're in the moment. You don't really know who the big names are until you look back, perhaps years later. But without further ado, let's talk about the 26th of December. I will read it, do a little bit of analysis, and we will move on from there. December 26th. A Tuesday, day of two, God of war, dawns in darkness, the short holiday day of talking by the fire, floating on snowshoes among ancient self-pollarded maples, visiting, being visited, giving a rain gauge, receiving red socks, watching snow buntings nearly over their heads in snow stab at spiritual bits of sunflower seeds the chickadees hold with their feet to a bough and hack apart. Scattering debris like sloppy butchers is over. Irregular life begins. Telephone calls, Google searches, evasive letters, complicated arrangements, faxes, second thoughts, consultations, emails, solemnly given kisses. In terms of analysis, there's a little bit worth talking about in this poem. It's pretty short, but I find it very interesting how Kinnell structures the poem. What's really interesting is that he goes on like a really long run-on sentence in order to describe Christmas. He says, the short holiday of talking by the fire, floating on snowshoes among ancient self-pollarded maples, yada, 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 is over. And that's like several lines later, which I just find very humorous, but he's describing these majestic things. He's highlighting Christmas, the holidays, the beautiful things that we do. I think he's talking at least historically what's been done, but like receiving red socks, talking by the fire, the short holiday, relaxing, everything is that we've come to love about Christmas is over. So now we're on the December 26th. Or in that period of time where everything is chaotic. And I like how he sort of begins the next sort of expression by saying irregular life begins. Telephone calls, Google searches, evasive letters, complicated arrangements, faxes, second thoughts, consultations, among many other things. Sort of highlighting how you have to get back to life. But what's interesting is the structure, because he says all these majestic things and then he kind of follows it up by saying, that's over. Time to go back to our telephone calls, to our work, our life, our family. Although you were probably with your family during the short holiday. But it's time to go back to all of that and kind of take ourselves away from the winter holiday. And I feel like that's very relatable for a lot of people, because the winter holiday is a fun time. We get time to ourselves, time to enjoy what we want, and then once that's over, the 26th or perhaps even January 2nd, as some people usually take that entire holiday off, like me for example. It's back to it. It's back to the grind. It's back to non non-relaxing kind of things, and that can be kind of jarring, like it is in this poem. So I do have to give Kinnell credit for how he structures this wonderful poem. Anyway, those are my thoughts on December 26th by Galway Kinnell. It's a pretty short poem, and there's not really a lot to say about it, but it's worth discussing for the structure and for capturing a very relatable feeling of coming back and sort of trying to tear yourself away from all these majestic and wonderful things, these Christmas things, these holiday things, these very vacation-y kind of things. If you have any thoughts on the poem, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you and have a discussion about this, possibly. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can find out about this poet or this poem if they don't already know. And until then, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and post-Christmas travels. Farewell.